Interesting stuff, Stephen Bryan.
It is indeed. Thank you, Jillian.
All right, here we go. President Trump's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, pleading guilty to criminal charges of his own, cutting a deal, facing jail time as part of a plea deal with the feds.
This morning, Ainsley is live from the White House. She's going to ask the president about that. But first, as you can see, far screen left, we've got Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz. He's the author of The Case Against Impeaching Trump. He joins us right now from Martha's Vineyard. Professor, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so Professor, so much is being made this morning about the possibility that the Michael Cohen charges could come back to impact the president. How, first of all, do you see that happening, and is he in any legal peril?
Well, the death knell that they've been sounding on some of the other cable television seems a bit exaggerated. There are many, many steps that have to be taken before the president's in legal jeopardy. First of all, you have to show that it's a crime. If Mr. Trump, the candidate, contributed several $100,000s to his own campaign to pay hush money to women who were either truthfully or falsely alleging against him, that's not a crime. A candidate can contribute as much as he wants. If he directed somebody to do it, intending to pay it back, that's probably not a crime. The election laws are a morass of misdemeanors, felonies, crimes, non-crimes, with exceptions. So you have to get over the legal barrier first. Then you have to get over the credibility barrier. The only evidence that the president did anything that might be unlawful, even arguably, comes from a man who's admitted to be a liar, who has a lawyer-client privilege with the president, unless there are exceptions to it. So there are a lot of barriers between what Cohen said yesterday in court. And remember, there's been no indictment, grand jury. There's only been a statement and allocution by a man who's admitted to criminal conduct. So we're far away from impeachable offense or criminal offense on the part of the president.
Ainsley. I want to ask you, will you elaborate more on that? I know you wrote the book, Case Against Impeaching Trump. Will this election be about impeachment? Because Mueller was going after him, trying to find Russia collusion. That hasn't happened so far. Are they going to try to use this against him and try to prove that it is illegal, maybe find some loophole and say that it is illegal? Maybe they disagree with you. Is there room for different opinions when it comes to reading that law, or is it just a hard, fast rule that this is not illegal if he did end up knowingly direct Cohen to pay these women?
Well, I think if you read my book, The Case Against Impeaching Trump, you'll see it makes a very persuasive argument that you can't impeach on the basis of minor derelictions or even crimes. You need a high crime and misdemeanor. And, you know, every campaign has violated some technical election law. Yeah, I think there are going to be some Democrats, there's one in Minnesota, there are a few others, who are going to run on, give us the House and we'll impeach the president. That's what happened when President Clinton was impeached, and of course it ended up being a disaster. It backfired on the Republicans because the Senate refused to remove him. So I think impeachment will be an issue, but I think the law on impeachment, at least according to my research, is fairly clear, and the president has not, at least up to now, committed any impeachable offenses.
Michael Avenatti, the antithesis of you, he's a flamethrower, came out and essentially said, because of this ruling in Cohen's deal that he cut, the stay is going to be released and he's going to have a chance to depose the president. What's your reaction?
It will never happen. Almost all of Avenatti's predictions have not come true. He's also said that the president would resign. The case of Stormy Daniels is a nothing case. I don't even know why it's still in court. The money was paid. The president has been willing to let her say what she wants to say. She's free to say what she wants to say. I don't even understand why the case is in court. The case seems to be in court because Avenatti wants it to be in court. I don't see how it benefits Stormy Daniels.
Well, it's a sensational
this is
headline.
Not a case. Yeah, but it's not a case that's going anywhere.
Right.
And I think neither Avenatti nor Stormy Daniels will have any real impact on the outcome of this matter. It's a sideshow, and it's a sideshow that's only there because the media is putting oil on the flames.
Well, Alan, yesterday the media were out in front of the Alexandria Federal Courthouse. Paul Manafort found guilty of 8 counts of bank and tax fraud related to his work as a political consultant years before he was the campaign chairman for Donald Trump. It's interesting, yesterday, or rather earlier today, Lanny Davis said that he would not, his client would not accept a pardon from the President of the United States. But given the President's comments regarding Paul Manafort, where, he feels sorry about him, he got all tangled up in this because he worked for the President, what do you think the odds are that Donald Trump might actually pardon one or two of these guys?
Well, let me first correct my dear friend Lanny, who is really an excellent lawyer. Nobody has to accept a pardon. The Supreme Court, in an opinion by Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, said a pardon is a presidential act, and the person pardoned doesn't have to accept it or reject it. It's there. The pardon has the impact without regard to what the person who gets it wants. I think there is some possibility he may pardon Manafort. The language he used yesterday, a tragedy, Manafort's a good person, he worked for other people, certainly leads to that possibility the way George H.W. Bush pardoned Caspar Weinberger. I don't think there's going to be a pardon for Cohen. I think Cohen and the Trump team are in an antagonistic position, and the Trump team's approach is going to be to try to discredit Cohen. So I think there are going to be two very different approaches to Manafort and Cohen.
Yeah, I'm sure he's really upset with Cohen. I'm sure, as you mentioned, he said yesterday he was sad about Manafort. But, wow, Cohen really turned his back on him and is now saying he lied and then hired Hillary Clinton's good friend.
And he taped their conversation before he was even president.
The other important point is, even if Cohen wants to testify against Trump, he can't testify as to any conversations, taped or not taped, that are covered by the lawyer-client privilege. What he's trying to do is claim that the direction by the president comes outside the privilege because it was illegal and part of the crime-fraud exception. But if, in fact, the president directed him to do it and intended to pay it back, that may not be a crime. So there's a question about whether or not even that testimony is proper or lawfully admitted under the lawyer-client privilege. These are complicated issues. We're far from knowing the answers.
Alan, you used to be retired. Now we have you working harder than ever. Alan Dershowitz, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. 29 minutes now.